Beloved, welcome back to the shop. Well, the snow is melting on the mountain, and you know what that means. It's time for firewood cutting. Yes, most people cut firewood in the fall, but really, the best time is to cut in the spring. That way you can sticker it up and have it all nice and dry and bring it in the fall. So I'm gonna get all the equipment ready today. We'll load up the truck. Tomorrow we're gonna head up and see what windfalls we can find up in the National Forest. So let's go through our full kit, get everything prepped and ready for tomorrow's cutting. I've laid out pretty much everything that I carry with me when I head up into the National Forest to cut. We have a ranger station not too far from here. We can go up and buy a cutting permit, and you can cut several cords a year up there for just a few dollars. It doesn't cost very much. So right now, let's start with our power saws. I learned from my grandfather when I was very young to always take 2 power saws with you when you go up into the forest, because you'll inevitably get one pinched or one stuck and you can't cut it out. So if you only have 1 power saw, one workaround is you can take an extra bar. If you do get your bar pinched or a tree sets back on it, you can remove the power head, put the new bar on with a new chain and cut it out. So it's kind of a poor man's version of that. I recently had to cut a stump down at ground level with the saw, so it's all dull and chewed up. So we'll do a quick rehab on it here and then go over our chains. I always go into the forest with about 6 chains. Pro tip, paint your scrunch tool a bright color so when you drop it, you can find it. I learned this from an old guy at a wildland fire at A. Faller. He put a spring clip on here and then clipped it to his belt. That way you don't put it in your back pocket and it pokes a hole in your nice King Ranch leather seats. Out west, the saws get a lot of resin on them because we primarily cut Douglas fir, the tree of my people, and it's got a lot of sap in it. So it really binds to the saw. So I'll just take a little bit of, you can use gasoline, or because I'll get sued on YouTube, I'll use carburetor cleaner, and that'll break that down. One of your friends is a little solvent brush. A solvent brush with a small stainless steel pan is handy for small parts because you can put your, whatever it is you're cleaning with, and it kind of keeps it contained. It's not so wasteful. And I'll just wipe all this down. Want to make sure we want to clean this out here. These are the journals for your bar oiler. Check your pull cord. Make sure it's not frayed. You don't want that breaking when you're up in the mountains. That looks better. The old 461. This is one of the greatest professional saws that Still's ever built. Not as good as the 500, but it's the one that I have. Once the power head's done, then we can work on the cover. Your cover is actually going to have 4 wear items on it. These are replaceable items. These are rub guards here. It's for the chain. If it starts whipping, it'll rub on there and not destroy your magnesium case. This is your chip deflector. So look for this here. This will actually crack through here. So this simply comes out. It all fits in there. These are all commonly available replaceable pieces. And then the third would be this roller right here. But those rarely go bad, but you just keep an eye on it. These get really dirty. And the old carburetor cleaner, and the best carburetor cleaner is the Amsoil. My goodness. It is something, it's super toxic in a good way. I don't know that it's bad, but it really is powerful stuff. These can't go in wrong. They're keyed. They're both the same. Next, we'll check the air filter and we'll put a new spark plug in it. New spark plug every spring. This cover here on your Pro Saws is going to have a winter-summer mode. This little plastic thing comes out, lets less air in if you're dealing with icing. If you live in an area that's really, really cold. Now these filters, they can be replaced or reused. You see all that sawdust, everything in there? Blow them out, but blow them out from the inside out. You don't want to blow stuff back into it. But when you're blowing, make sure you cover this area up, throw a rag over it so you don't inadvertently get a bunch of sawdust and stuff in there. Engage your safety squints. If you follow these steps after a big day using your saw, it will last 20, 30, 40 years. Now we can replace the plug. If you use premium oil, steel oil, AMS oil, and good non-ethanol gas, you rarely have problems with these. You can save this for a spare or just toss it. I always put a new one in, carry a new one with me. Hit that thumbs up, gentlemen, if you enjoyed these tutorials. Now, I carry spare parts, and these are the spare parts that I carry with me when I go out into the field, because if I'm going to go out there and take the day off, last thing I want to do is waste my time. So, air filter, only OEM parts. And then this is my small tackle box. In here, I'm going to have an extra spark plug, which we'll use today. When I take this out, I just go on Amazon, reorder it. I'm going to have a couple of those extra wear rings that we talked about. Bar nuts. The older saws don't have retained bar nuts, and you'll lose these all the time. So have enough for you and your buddy, because he won't have them. He will not have them. A pilot bearing and clutch springs. So pretty much anything that's going to go wrong out there, I'm going to be able to deal with. So I'll put that in there until I get my new one. Keep the case, that way you don't have to go back looking up the part numbers again. And the other things I'll carry are going to be a replacement cord, a couple of extra set of earplugs, and a carbureting adjustment tool, extra file handle, and Oberknopfs. These plugs are supposed to come pre-gapped, and what that means is the distance between the electrode there and that little metal thing. So you want to make sure you check them. 20,000 or 020, is that 20,000s? I never know. Not a machinist. And it's pretty close there. If it's not quite right, you can just that's right in there, your 20,000s. You can put a little anti-seize on there. Whenever you're mating two dissimilar metals, stainless steel especially, with aluminum, they can corrode. If you're going to if you don't change your plugs very often, putting that on there can make the difference between getting it out and stripping your head. Don't over tighten. Now for the bar and chain, no piece should be overlooked. You know, they're all vital to the proper running of the saw. You're not going to have any luck if your bar fails on you, and there's a little bit of maintenance that you need to do on them. Start at the tip, check your sprocket. Some of the older bars, maybe even some of the newer ones, I think Windsor's may still have a port where you can grease this, but the steel factory bars, they have sealed bearings, so you don't need to do anything. As long as it turns and it doesn't bind, then you're good. Take a small screwdriver and clean out this track all the way around. It's amazing how much junk will keep in there. and that just causes friction and heat and just wears out your bar quicker. Once you get that cleaned out, blow it out with a little bit of air. Now this is the important part. These little journals right here is what oils your bar. And those always get clogged up right there. And they're the same on both sides. If you look at them, that hole is drilled and it comes out right there. So that's how the bar is oiled, and they're on both sides. That's why you flip your bar. Bar wears more on one side than the other. So every time you sharpen, if you flip it, it'll double the length your bar will last. Check that out in the field. You get a pine needle or different things in there. You can take a little stick and you can clean that out if you don't have compressed air. You'll see this bar says lightweight on it. This is one of the best things that's come along in power saws for a long time. A lightweight bar is where they take and they machine out the center and they press in a rigid but a lighter material, and it cuts the weight of the bar a lot, which doesn't seem like it would be that big of a deal, but when you're running long bars, 32, 36-inch bars like we run out west, that's a lot of weight out there, and it's really hard on your body, on your back. So if you can pick up some or lose some weight on that, it makes a tremendous difference. I know some of the old timers used to say, oh, you need to man up, and well, those guys are all crippled and dead by 60. So don't listen to the old timers. Take care of your body and use the technology. It's there. I love the lightweight bars, and I always get them, especially on the longer or the bigger saws. I carried two bars with me, a 36 and a 32. This is not a lightweight bar. When I bought it, I needed it and they didn't have one. So I rarely use it, but sometimes I get into stuff so big that I can't get it with a 32. And so that's my extra. I carry chains for both. I put a green zip tie on this one, and I put green zip ties and red zip ties on my chain so I know which one's which. The red ones are the 32s and the green ones are the 36s. They're hard to tell in the field. And I sharpen everything here in the shop, and then when I go out, I'm not fooling around with sharpening. I do it here where I can control it and do it nice. I don't want to be out laying on the ground sharpening saws. Also, having the zip ties on there keeps them from getting tangled, and the ones that go dull, I'll just toss them in there. They're always loose, and then I'll bring them back, and I know which ones need sharpening. Don't put your chain on backward, gentlemen. Always remember, the point goes forward. It points the way. You put the point forward and you'll never look like a fool. Before I put my bar on, I'll back this adjuster, back a few turns. Makes it easier to get everything on. Lay the chain, start with the tip. What you're looking for here is make sure that those drive teeth on the bottom are in that sprocket. That sprocket's what turns. And then over here, the little pin right there that's in the bar, make sure that the chain's in the bottom. That's what drives it right there. And when you turn this screw right here, pushes that bar forward. Goodness, what a miserable and hateful scrunch tool. I'm gonna have to file that one down. That's way too fat. It won't even fit in there. This is the proper factory steel version. Oh goodness, yeah. And this thing's for the garbage can. When you turn that brings it forward. Make sure that the teeth stay in that bottom groove. Now, how tight should it be? The reason why your chain always comes loose, it's two things. One, you've got a brand new chain and they will stretch the first couple times. Two, when you're tightening it, you're not lifting it up. Do you see how that distance increases when I lift it up? So what I do is I hold this up and I'll adjust it until that gap goes away. That gap in here, it sucks up tight. What you want is a nice snapback. As a rule of thumb, hold that bar up and tighten that until this chain comes right up and touches the bottom of that bar, and it looks something like that. You should be able to, with the brake disengaged, easily throw it. Something like that. Don't over tighten these bar nuts. Once it comes up snug, just give it a couple more inches. I've seen guys actually pull the studs right out of the power head before. It's all you need. And if you want to take it to the next level, you finish off with this Amsoil Mudslinger. This prevents, it's protected. It protects it from UV, and it prevents a lot of that sap from sticking on there, and it gives it that factory nice looking, beautiful finish. And the smell is delightful too. That carburetor cleaner will strip off the witness marks on your gunning sights. So if it matters to you, you can just reapply. I use a paint pen. And that is the full tip to trigger on how to care for your power saw. Husky, Homelight, Echo, Shindaiwa, doesn't make any difference. The process is basically the same thing. These are amazing tools, gentlemen. There's very few things that will do so much work packed in such a small package. If you didn't have this and you had to heat with firewood, you would sorely, sorely miss it. It's one of the probably the top 10 most important tools that Proho should own. And buy a good one, buy a professional one, and take care of it. And you'll hand it down to your kids. This will be part 1. Part 2 will go into the rest of the items, and we'll cover that tomorrow. So may God bless you and your families. Please keep us in your prayers, and we'll see you all on the next video.